We are here at the 14th edition of the Atlantic Dialogues, where global leaders and also experts gather to discuss the future of the wider Atlantic. Today we are joined by Mr. Gastón Ocampo, Secretary General of the Institute of the Promotion of the Caribbean and Latin America. Mr. Gaston, thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
The theme of this edition emphasizes building partnerships in an era of instability. What are the most promising areas for Morocco to deepen its partnership, whether in economic or climate cooperation with the Atlantic Basin countries?
Thank you very much once again for the invitation to be here. Something that we talked a lot about in the presentation of the Atlantic Currents report, which is this flagship report that year after year the Policy Center for the New South edits and publishes together with experts from the Atlantic Basin. Something that was emphasized a lot is the importance of partnerships and bringing people together. We have seen that lately in the Atlantic Basin and all over the world there has been more fragmentation and more polarization and people growing apart, countries growing apart, regions growing apart. I think that's something very important to highlight, and a positive aspect of all of this is that we're here. We have hundreds of people from all over the Atlantic Basin, but from all over the world coming together to Morocco. And we see that power of convening power that the Policy Center for the New South, Morocco as a whole, and Africa and the Global South can have in shaping these conversations and shifting away from this divisive and polarizing dialogues and conversations that we are seeing, this trend that we are seeing around the world, and bring together, come together. Some aspects that are very important in this year's edition of Atlantic Currents, in these conversations that we have had, involve artificial intelligence, involve the reshaping of multilateralism, involve the importance of involving youth into these conversations. And it's all these things that we're going to be touching upon in this conversation.
Morocco has positioned itself as a bridge between Africa, Europe, and the Americas. In practical terms, what role do you think Morocco can play in shaping the architecture of the wider Atlantic in an era of instability?
It's a very interesting question. It's a very interesting point that we see being asked in different ways, right? We are also asked what role can the youth take in shaping conversations. You're asking me what role can Morocco take in shaping these conversations. And I say that Morocco, youth, and other aspects are already shaping the conversation. That's already happening. The fact that we are all here being convened under the high patronage of His Majesty, it's something that should be highlighted and should be emphasized. This is not something new. This is the 14th edition of the Atlantic Dialogues. The Policy Center has been a leader in convening different voices for a really long time. And I think that it's very important to shift that perspective and realize that most of the conferences that I attend are in the global north. I go to the US, I go all around Europe, but it's very few the cases where I come to the global south and I'm seeing this power of convening. So it's something that should be emphasized. It should not be something special. There should be more of these gatherings in the global south. There should be more of these gatherings, not only in Africa, but in Latin America, in Asia, and other developing regions. Now, something that has been going on for a really long time is the fact that Morocco has not only been investing in talking, but also has been walking the talk and has been a leader, a thought leader, and an actor in shaping these conversations, but also implementing what has been touched upon. So something that I think should be emphasized is this convening power of Morocco. We're seeing it in the African Cup of Nations that is happening in a couple of years, in the World Cup that is going to be happening in Morocco. So not all is lost, and this reshuffling of the world order, where we see a retreat from the United States and the European Union not being able sometimes to fill these gaps, is being filled naturally by actors of the global south, such as Morocco, such as Latin American countries, such as African countries, Asian countries, that are able, that are willing to convene people and generate change.
Finally, what is your advice to young leaders participating today?
Push to be part of these conversations and push to change this narrative, where oftentimes we see that is being said that, hey, the youth are the future, the youth will have change, the youth will have an impact. I don't think that's the case. I think that youth are already having an impact. The youth are the present, and something that I push for in my remarks in this opening session of the conference is the fact that we should shift also the way when we talk about this, because youth are not the ones that only need to be educated. We need to be educated. We need to learn so much from our superiors, from our seniors, from the people that have been around for a really long time, but also we should appraise the impact that youth are already having. If we look at Latin America, the region where I come from, I'm from Argentina, we see that over 55% of the entrepreneurs, the people leading companies or startups and leading innovations, are considered to be youth. And that's only natural, taking into consideration that in sub-Saharan Africa, over 70% of the people are considered youth, that in Latin America, most of the people are considered to be youth and will only continue to increase. So I would say to my fellow youth and my fellow young actors to continue pushing, to continue being part of these conversations, but not only be content with that, but also be part of the conversation and the solution.
Mr. Gastón Ocampo, you are the Secretary General of the Institute of the Promotion of America Latina and the Caribbean. Thank you for your insights.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching this special interview from the Atlantic Dialogues.